So today I'm going to take you on a day of shopping that we did in Tokyo. And most of the shopping we did was stationery related. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, then I invite you to grab yourself a cozy beverage. Today I have a coffee. Grab a snack. I don't have a snack with me because as soon as I'm done filming this, I'm going to have lunch. And grab yourself a planner or journal or whatever cozy activity you'd like to have with you while we hang out and chat. And when I say chat, this will be a chatty video because I'd like to share some details around some of the places that we saw and ate at. So if you aren't interested in that, I will leave timestamps for all the different places that we went to. So you can skip ahead to the different stores that you'd like to hear about. I've got my 2024 Hobonichi Techo where I wrote out all of the things that we did on every day of our trip. And I'm so glad that we did this because we are now a few months later, 3 months later, and had I not written down all of these things, I wouldn't be able to remember the details of our trip without having this reference. So I'm so grateful that I did this. So that morning we went on a 6K run along Meguru River. If you are staying in Tokyo and you are close to Meguru River, I highly recommend going for a run or a walk along there if it's accessible to you. It was a pretty long strip of uninterrupted trails and it was really nice to be able to run kind of away from traffic, but you could see the river and then you could also get glimpses of the neighborhoods that you were passing by. So we walked along this area, I think every day that we were staying in the area that we were in. And then when we finished that run, we grabbed coffee and pastries from Saison Bakery and Coffee. I made a note here that the coffee and pastries were okay. It was really great for after the run. We were staying near Shinagawa Station, so we went to Tokyo Station, and that's where we went to Traveler's Factory Tokyo Station for the first time. So I do have another video where I go over my visits to all the Traveler's Factories, so if you're interested in seeing what I got there, I will link that video below. After that, we walked to Hibiya Park, and I put in here, it was really hot. So I remember this well because it was a very sunny day. It was very hot and there wasn't a lot of shade. So I think we had planned on doing a more extensive walk around the area, but we were way too hot. So we actually walked towards Ginza. Along the way, we ended up going to Don Quixote or Donkey because I wanted to get an umbrella. I just found like it was too hot, and even with a hat, I felt like I was roasting, which was a surprise for us because in October, I thought it was going to cool down a bit. After that, we went to Uniqlo. Then we walked over to Itoya Ginza. I didn't really know what to expect from Itoya. I've definitely heard about the store. I knew it was a stationery store. I knew that they sold a lot of pens, and I was planning on going to the pen floor for sure because at the very least I was planning on picking up the Itoya exclusive Lamy Safari for Leanne from Leanne Likes. But apart from that, I hadn't really done a lot of research into it, and I think it was 8 floors. It felt like a very upscale stationery store, and because of that, I didn't actually spend as much money at the store because that's when I kind of realized that while the prices of the stationery may be cheaper than what they would cost in Canada, they still weren't cheap, if that makes sense. So while I was there, I did explore every single floor. I did have the luxury of time, and Mike was very patient and he did some exploring on his own while I went to every single floor. So each floor has a different theme. There's like a fountain pen floor, there's a card floor, a home floor, art supplies. And overall, I felt like there wasn't really anything there that I could only get there. Aside from that Lamy Safari that I was getting for Leanne. I did pick up a few things though, so let me go grab that. so this is the bag that I got. And another thing about Itoya is they do offer tax-free shopping. So I would recommend having your passport on you because they will ask for your physical passport, and that's how they're able to apply the tax-free shopping. And I tried to pick things that I hadn't really seen before, but I'm pretty sure a lot of these things you could get elsewhere. So the first thing I got was this Pochito push button stamp. I know these are available at different places, but I think these stamps are really cute, and I've always kind of wanted to get one of them because the concept of self-inking stamps is so convenient. So I picked up these kind of mood ones, and I'm actually really excited to take a look. I was thinking I could use this potentially in my health and wellness tracker. So it's actually really small, which I like. So these are my scissors for comparison. This is the size next to like my Pilot vanishing point. So you can see it's quite small. And it's basically a little like push button stamp. Okay, we'll try it out on Sunday because we don't usually use Sundays too much in this book. So I think basically you just put it down. Oh, oh, that's so cute. Okay, so you just put it down and then you just push. They're like little buttons. And let's see how it does with this paper. So not too bad. It doesn't really bleed through too much. So I just thought this was really cute. And since I had been kind of wanting to get one of these for a while, I just wanted to find one that I really liked and I could see myself using. Yeah, I really like this. And this is what the stamps look like. Okay, so that was the first thing. The next thing that I picked up were these Shachihara stamps. I just wanted to get some stamp pads that I could put in my case because currently the main stamp pad that I use is this one, and I have had this color box stamp pad since 2013, so it's actually been quite a while, and to credit this, I can still stamp with this given how old it is. Like I've never added more ink to this, but it is starting to fade, and I also find that I have to put it in this plastic bag because the top doesn't really stay put, and so I don't usually feel comfortable putting this in my Superior Labor utility case. So I really wanted something a little smaller. And I like that these are stackable, even though I wouldn't really be stacking them in my utility case. And I hope that these are Hobonichi paper friendly. I mean, I know this year is kind of an anomaly year for the paper, so if it doesn't work, it may still work in the future. But I tried to pick some neutral colors, so this looked like a gray to me. And I'm pretty sure you can get these in Toronto. So I got a few of my stamps here. I've got this cute stamp that I got from Wonder Pen. I love this stamp. And okay, that's great. So that doesn't really go through. So this one is like a brown. I don't know what it's called in English. I'm assuming that's the color. And then this one okay, I love that. See, it's not really, there's some ghosting, which is fine, but no bleed through. So I'm really happy with these colors. I mean, there's so many colors that I could have chosen from, but I really tried to just focus on ones that I knew I was going to use for sure. when I was on the floor where there was all the stationery and the stickers, I came across this one artist that I ended up picking up quite a few things from. So the artist is Aiko Fukawa, and their style reminds me a lot of Yumi Kitagishi. So I actually thought this would be really nice and on theme with this beautiful wallpaper. I was really trying to limit the amount of washi tape that I picked up, but I could not resist. I think I had more that I was looking at, but I put all of them back and I just walked away with this one. So this was 550 yen, and I think this price below is what it costs without tax. And I just love this kind of whimsical design. I thought it was so beautiful. And let's see. So beautiful. So I'm really happy to have that in my collection now. And then I got these sticker packs. There were so many to choose from, but this one was called Rabbit Garden, and it was $4.95 or $4.50. So not insane, but if you buy a bunch of these things, it definitely adds up. So this is what they look like. I think they're so cute. So they're just little bunnies hanging out their garden. I really love this bunny with this quilt. And yeah, I think they're clear stickers. And then the other one that I got was this cats and buttons. Like that reminds me so much of the Yumi Kitagishi style. This cat wearing the quilt dress, this cat with the balloons, and all these really beautiful buttons. I just love it. I can't wait to use these. And then I got this paper set. There were a few to choose from. So they're just little like note papers. They're so beautiful. I could use them in scrapbooking. I think I could send them in Happy Mail. I think that's, so there's 4 different kinds. And this was $4.95 or $4.50. This is a different artist. I really liked these illustrations. So this one's called Seasonal Jar, and it's another pad of paper, but I like the illustrations on it. So yeah, I thought these would be really cute as like little note, like papers in my scrapbooking, but also again with like sending Happy Mail. There's quite a lot in here. Yeah, so that's what this one looks like. This was $5.50 or 500 yen. The last thing that I got was another one of these papers. I just loved these drawings, these little faces on these. I'm not even sure what they are. Are they bunnies or are they characters wearing bunny costumes? And then I just loved the neon colors in it. I think this is my favorite page. They look so free. And then their faces. I love this. So that's all that I got from Itoya. I'm really happy with my purchases. After Itoya, we walked over to Ancora because they're very close by each other. So let me grab what I got from Ancora. When it came to Ancora, my intention was to get things that I could really only get at Ancora. I did look at some of the more exciting sailor fountain pens. There wasn't really anything there that was jumping out at me as something that I really, really wanted. So instead, I actually just went up to them and I asked them what ink you could only get there, and they said that this was an exclusive, but I do think you can buy this ink and have it sent to you, so it's not like the Bungubox ink where you can only get it at their location when you go in person. However, this navy is a gorgeous color and I have already opened it and I have already used it. If you're into blues, I would recommend this one. This is what the ink looks like. This is the ancora navy. This is another example of it. It actually happened to be in the ink vent sample set that I got for December. I don't know if you can see here, there's a little bit of a red sheen. So it's very beautiful. And like all Sailor inks, it writes really well. I had it in my Pro Gear Slim Extra Fine. And this pen is usually the one that is finicky with inks. And so I know that if the ink writes really well in this pen, then I'm pretty confident it's going to write well in all of my pens. Then the most exciting thing is I got a custom pen from them. So this is a brochure that I got from ancora. This is the entrance. So when you walk in, they've got products on the right-hand side, they've got products on the left, and then this table right here, this is where you can customize your pen. And credit to Tiffany from Toxmot, because this wasn't even on my radar until I saw her showing her custom pen. So I did go ahead and take a look, and Mike and I actually designed the pen together because indecision was killing me and I was having trouble narrowing down a pen. But basically you can customize everything from the cap, the finials, the barrel, the nib color. I think they have like a gold and a silver. When we were there anyway, they had a few colors that were limited, so I don't think that they're necessarily always available. And I just had a really fun time. So you kind of pick up all your pieces. It's like you're at a candy shop and you're just picking the different pieces that you want to assemble your pen. And then you go to the back, you pay for it, they assemble it for you. I did have to buy an ink converter, and they let you pick some cartridges. I think I picked blue, but I think you get a choice of black or blue, and maybe black blue. And then they assemble it for you. They bring it out to you on a tray and say, here it is if you want to take photos. So I think it's really nice that they kind of know that generally people will want to take photos of their pens. And this is the box that it comes in. And if you're curious about how much it costs, I do have the receipt. It came out to, I think, now I'm not so sure, so somebody may want to correct me, but I think it was 4,400 yen. And I think the ink was 1870, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know what this extra 770 is. Oh, this might be the converter. Let me show you the pen. Okay, so this is the pen that I ended up getting. I really love it. I mean, there was a part of me that wanted to go neutral, like get some cream color, but I thought I would get something that I wouldn't normally pick on my own. When you're customizing, you can even get like a different, I think this is the section, you can get a different section to this. And as I mentioned, you can pick your finials. So I picked this mauve rose color and I picked gold trim. This clear pink cap was one of the limited edition colors. I think they had pink, teal green, and been a brown, or it might have been clear. I can't remember. And I ended up picking a medium fine nib because I don't have any medium fine nibs. So that's what it looks like. I don't know if this is focusing, but it has a little ancora engraving on the nib. Currently it is inked with Kyo Iro Cherry Blossom of Kiage. It's a beautiful color. This is what it looks like. It's really beautiful. I don't know if the ink is dry or the pen is dry, so I'm curious to put this ink in a different pen just to see how the ink writes with. But in this pen, it's not too bad, but I think this is a steel nib. It feels different from the other Sailor pens that I have. Having said that though, I think this ink is a perfect ink for this pen. And actually, as I'm writing this now, this is writing a lot better than I thought. So maybe the ink just needed a little more time to settle in to this pen. Yeah, I love it. And it's so special because it was something that Mike and I got to kind of design together. In the end, I think this is such a beautiful representation of our trip. And so this is the one and only fountain pen that I got on our trip. And I'm so happy that I got something special that I could only get in Japan. Okay, so after that, we were starting to get really hungry. This is something I remember about this area. So it was very difficult to find cheap food. In this area, it was a lot of like sit-down restaurants, and we weren't really in the mood for something really big. And it was so hot that honestly, we weren't really that hungry. And so while I was in Itoya, Mike was actually wandering around looking for a place that we could have lunch at. We were going to try to find something before we went to Ancora, but on the way there, we didn't really see anything where we could just pop in and grab like something to go. So in the end, we ended up grabbing food from a 7-Eleven. And I think that was a frustration for us because food can be kind of expensive when you dine in. And so we were mainly looking for something where we could just, grab something quick. And this is definitely not the area, at least in our limited experience, this is not the area for that. So if you are going to be doing a big shopping day and you're maybe trying to save on meals, maybe pick something up ahead of time that you can grab and then eat somewhere. Although finding a place somewhere to sit and eat is also really difficult in Japan. So you might end up standing as you're eating. But anyway, we ended up getting some onigiri and French toast, which randomly was something that I became really fixated on this trip. Probably terrible for you, but it was this like really buttery, sweet, thick white bread. And I don't know if it was because we were so hungry at that point, but I fell in love with this French toast from 7-Eleven and I ended up getting it a few more times. So I think if we were ever to go back to this area, we would just bring some food from somewhere. After we had our little onigiri and French toast, we walked to Tobichi. Now, I'll be honest, this was a really long walk. And if you don't have a lot of time, then you might want to take the subway. I spent a really long time in there as well, because I underestimated how powerful seeing all of the Hobonichi covers and books and things in person really was. And honestly, I think I concluded that it might be better that I can't see them in person first, because I seriously wanted to walk out with so many things. There were so many covers that on the website I was able to kind of discount and not really think too much about. But then seeing them in person, I just really love Hobonichi products in general. And I know there's a whole controversy with their paper and there's a lot of disappointment this year, but I still really love Hobonichi as a brand. And there were so many covers that I wanted to get, but I did manage to stop myself from picking up a bunch of dated books for 2025 because I had already purchased my Hobonichi order prior to the trip and I didn't want to add anything else to my lineup. So this is the bag that it comes in. It's a little big, but it's got this cute little bird and flower on it. And then there's also this on the back. It's actually still in the bag. I got a Stapo. So I was kind of back and forth about getting a Stapo when I did my Hobonichi order. And I decided at the time that I was going to wait and see if there were any spring patterns that I liked more than what I was seeing in the fall. I actually really fell in love with his neutral color because I was thinking it would be a really great canvas for adding other things to instead of getting something that was a really loud pattern. And so I think because I've been kind of collecting some pins and some patches, I actually think this will be really fun to decorate, kind of similarly to my Traveler's Notebook cover. When I purchased it, they also offered tax-free shopping, but they do say, do not open this until you get home. So I didn't open it, and I've actually been like really excited to open it. So let's do that together. I won't spend too much time on this because so many great videos already that go over the Stapo, but my hope is that this will just help me organize more things that are on my desk, because I do have a lot of bits and pieces, and I'm trying to clean up my desk a little more. So what it looks like on the inside, there's a few different pockets. There's this Velcro divider and room in the front. If you're interested, maybe I'll do a follow-up video after I've had some time to play with it. But I'm excited, and I'm also really excited to decorate it a little bit. I think the plain pattern could be really good for that. So that's the first thing. Then I picked up these Paddington sticky notes. So I really loved the Paddington lineup this year, but I didn't get anything from it, mostly because I knew the Weeks was going to be really popular and it did sell out. So I thought this was something that I could actually see myself using. So I got these cute little sticky notes, and then we got this towel, and it was really soft. So it has this really soft interior. It's more for Mike actually than it is for me, but I wanted him to get something while we were there. On our way home, we did go back to the Tobichi store one more time. So the really cool thing about Tobichi is when I went back the second time, they were actually having like an art display or an art exhibit while we were there. And so I thought it was really cool that they used the space not only for their retail products, but also to showcase other artists. It's like a little short film, and there were all these additional products that were themed along with it. And I was tempted to pick up some of them, but in the end I decided to not. But I did get these really quirky and cute little like charm things, and they come with this little book, which I'm gonna have to use my Translate app to read. But I just loved how quirky these little things were. Like, look at this tomato or apple face with the sequin eyes. And I like that this one kind of has like the eyebrows and everything. This one was also really funny. And I loved this little koala. They were really affordable. I think they were, I'm going to add the cost on the screen when I find the receipt. They would be really cute as little gifts. They would even be cute as ornaments on a tree. And yeah, I just thought they were so unique and so special. So I'm glad that I went back, because these were not there the first time that I went to Tobichi. So even in the span of like a week, they had different things. I'm looking at them now and they're just bringing me so much joy. So that was Tobichi. So after Tobichi, we realized that Bungubox was very close by. We managed to sneak into Bungubox about 30 minutes before they closed. So I didn't have a ton of time, but I was really happy to be able to go. And I actually enjoyed it so much that we did go back at the end of our trip. When I asked if I could look at some of their samples, they showed me to their desk. They have two sitting desks, and one is kind of closer to the front of the store. And they have a bunch of different pens inked up with their inks. And they were so accommodating and so eager to show me their inks and give me the time to explore all of the different ones. So I actually managed to test out a bunch of their inks. This was over 2 days because I didn't want to go too crazy, but starting here to down here. And while I was testing their inks, I fell in love with Sweet Potato Purple. It was so unexpected because I usually go for greens and browns, and I was actually eyeing this Kabayaki and thinking about picking up a bottle of that. But I don't know, there was something about the sweet potato purple. It just wrote so well and the color just really spoke to me. So I didn't get it the first time around, and then I could not stop thinking about it. So we did go back so that I could pick up that color because I just decided I really wanted it. And first time around, all I bought was this Quarter Latin Jimbocho, which is their exclusive ink. It's like a dark brown ink, and it comes in this really cool square bottle. And while this was the only thing I bought at that first night, they gave it to me in this bag, and they also gave me, I don't even know what this is. It says pasta snack, so I guess it's like a little candy because it was around Halloween. And they also let me pick a sample, which I thought was super generous of them. So let me open it up and see what I picked because I can't remember. Oh, so it's called Nostalgia. And then, yeah, so I thought it was really cute. Just buying one ink, they gave me this sample, this pasta snack. And then because she saw that I had my traveler's notebook and that I was collecting stamps, she got really excited and she pulled out her own stamp and said, like, do you want to use this? So I'll show you in my sketchbook. She ended up stamping it for me. So there was something so special about my experience at that store. They were so wonderful and pleasant to deal with. And despite the fact that it was nighttime and they were close to closing, they never rushed me. And I just felt so welcomed. And then when we went back, I went and got this ink. So I did go ahead and get potato purple, which I wish I could have gotten more inks, but they are pricey, even if you get them directly from their store. So I got this ink. I got another ink for a friend as a gift, so I don't have that on me. And then they also gave me this little gift. I don't know what it is, so I'm going to open it. I'm guessing it's candy because it looks like it's something Halloween, but let's take a look. Okay, so it's a few little Halloween candies. That's cute. I'm glad it wasn't something that would have gone bad since I took so long to open it, but I think that's a nice little touch, a little Halloween gift. They gave me this quarter Latin blend coffee, so it looks like maybe this pack is coffee that you can make just using this alone. And then I also picked up two final things. So I picked up some onion skin letter set, and then I also got an onion skin notebook. No idea what I'm going to do with this yet. It says the cover is Saragami Sumi. End paper is Sagan Light Gray. Oh, like this end paper. And the text paper is Kate Jo Onion Skin. I don't know a lot about onion skin paper. I don't know if there's different types of onion skin paper. If you know, let me know. Look at this. Like, it's so thin. I'm really excited to use. I mean, it's definitely going to be something ink related. But I don't know yet. So I'm going to put it back in the package and probably stare at it for a bit before I decide how I'm going to use it. So that's everything that I got from Bungubox. I was really tempted by some of their custom pens and paintings, but I just didn't want to make a decision out of emotion. And at that point, I didn't feel like there was something I really had to have in terms of a pen. And so, I even considered getting like one of their converters that they've painted on, but it would have been just like a very emotional decision. So I just got the inks, and I'm really happy with these inks. I currently have this Quarter Latin in my Pilot Vanishing Point, and it writes really well. Let me show you. So it's like a really nice brown black. And it just writes really well in this pen, honestly. And this color, the sweet potato purple, inked up my pen 3 times before I finally stopped using it, like before I took a break from it. So here it is in the fine. I actually think I'd like to put it in something that maybe has a bit more of a broad line, because using this did make it look a little bit darker. Overall, just a beautiful ink, and it kind of kickstarted my current obsession with purple inks at the moment. So all around a really good experience, and I really loved my experience at Bungubox. And if we do go back to Japan, I would love to go back and maybe even get a few more of their inks. So after Bungubox, we went to this place called Curry Bondy. And it's on an upper level when you go in, and we had to wait a little while, but this place was so good. First of all, it was really the only like proper sit down meal that we had that day. And it was after a long day of walking. I think I wanted to double check like how many steps we got that day. So October 7th. So we walked 34,599 steps that day. So that was a tiring day. We got the chicken and the beef curry, and it came with the rice and a plate, and then boiled potatoes on the side, and then the curry was in a gravy dish. It was the perfect way to end the night. And then on our way home, we decided we wanted ice cream, and I don't know why. I guess because we had had the French toast that earlier that day from 7-Eleven, and I was so excited about it. We got ice cream cones from the freezer section, and I do not recommend. That was definitely a mistake. The cone tasted like stale, and the ice cream wasn't that good. So that was the one and only time we ever got ice cream from like a 7-Eleven. Overall, it was a wonderful shopping day. I feel so grateful that we were able to visit all of these places in one day, because the next day we left to go to our next destination. So we were able to kind of check off a lot of the major places. Of course, there were other places that I was hoping to go to. Really had a good time at the Traveler's Factory. Obviously, I really loved that. It's probably one of my favorite locations despite its size. Itoya, I don't feel like I would rush to go back, because it really felt like an upscale stationery store, and most of the things that I would buy, I wasn't necessarily going there to get a lot of expensive fountain pens. If I had that intention, I probably would have spent a lot more time and a lot more money at Itoya, but I was mostly looking for unique things, and I think I had my heart set on getting a custom pen, because other pens like this, maybe I could have gotten it for less, but I can still get it in Toronto. But something like this, I mean, I had to travel all the way to Japan to get it. So I'm really glad that this is what I ended up getting. Happy that we got to go to Ancora. And then I would say my favorite of the day was Bungubox, just because of how wonderful they were, how warm and cozy the store was, and getting to sit down at their desk and play with all their inks was an experience. I feel so grateful that I was able to do that, and that we had the time to do that. And I'm also grateful to Mike for kind of putting up with me all day, because, you know, stationery is not really his thing, but he knew that this was something that I was really excited about. So he was kind of the navigator. He helped me find everything. And in the end, I just had such a great time. So that's everything from my shopping day in Tokyo. If you have any questions about anything you see here, let me know. Otherwise, if you're still here, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I'd love to know if you've been to any of these locations. What did you think about them? And what were some of the favorite things? Like, what did you get? What was your impression of these stores? And where should I have also gone? If I go back, I'd love to spend a little more time in the area and check out some of the other stores. All right, well, that's all for me today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate you so much, and I'll see you soon in the next video.